Hey everyone, I'm Tony. Good to see you again. I'm excited and honored to be included on this panel and excited to hear from all of the other panelists. To build off of what Anne's saying, one of the biggest lessons I've learned is around the power dynamic between nonprofits and funders. And it can seem like funders hold all of the power. They basically are the gatekeepers to the funding you need to desperately, do your work. But the helpful reframing that we learned through a lot of ups and downs is seeing funders not as people providing you with resources, but people partnering with you on that same shared goal. And rather than thinking the funder has something that I need as a nonprofit, thinking of it as a win-win solution where you're providing that funder with access to the miraculous. You're providing them with access to the incredible work that you're doing as a nonprofit on the ground or as an individual in the community. And so even if you might not say that out loud to someone, just having that in your mind helps you just remember that you're here for a reason. You should be at the table for a reason. You're not appealing to this high and mighty funder. It's working together to see how you can collaborate on bringing something to fruition. And what's really exciting is a lot of funders are now interested in getting involved in the work, and especially corporate funders. They're interested in bringing their employees to become volunteers or helping out in various ways. So it really is more of a collaboration now than just a financial relationship. I can't speak to the philanthropic side, but what Josh is saying I think is spot on about how there's a kind of a big fear that when nonprofits are doing really great work, the unintended consequences is that governments feel like they can take a step back. And simultaneously, I think nonprofits often become too dependent on philanthropy or see philanthropy as the primary or only source of funding for their work. And when we looked at kind of mature organizations and charting out where is break time going, many of the most successful mature organizations really only have 33% of their funding from philanthropy. The rest is from maybe contracts. There's actually revenue models. There's obviously government funding. And so thinking through long term, what is that economic engine that's fueling your work beyond philanthropy? Because philanthropy is great for kind of seed funding. It's great for testing. It's great for starting out. But as you mature, what are the other sources? And so there is a challenge to not just follow that one path continuously of depending on grants and donations. I think universities also have a unique responsibility and opportunity to expose young people like us to different career paths that are out there, including things like philanthropy, nonprofits. And one thing the school that I went to really focuses on is Engage Scholarship. And this is actually a program funded by a wealthy philanthropist. And he gave millions of dollars for the specific purpose of creating classes where students are learning about community challenges and actually on the ground, in the field, in the city, interacting with people in the community. And I think that's a very fascinating model that I wish more schools had, because often schools are ivory towers. They're closed off gates, students in classrooms learning about challenges and not getting the chance to be able to apply that learning beyond the classroom. It's really a missed opportunity. I would also say universities have really been an incubator for so many new initiatives and programs. And while universities receive philanthropy, in some cases they can also provide the resources or the funding to create programs themselves. And again, just from my own experience, the shelter, the Y2Y shelter that I was working at was founded by students, but initially funded by our school. And I think we're lucky that our school had the resources to do that. But that nonprofit then spun out of the school and is now kind of a network building shelters for young adults across the U.S. And so again, seeing schools as incredible platforms, incubators for this kind of exploration of new careers as well as new program models. On that point, one thing that reminds me of is when we ask the young adults at break time, what is your dream job? Over half of them say some form of art, whether it's being a musician, a dancer, visual artist. And I think maybe one small piece of that is that for people experiencing homelessness, constantly being told you're not good enough, no one listening to you and what your actual needs are, creative expression is how you, voice your opinion and express your own worth. And it's really fascinating to hear. We even saw with Story Catchers Theater that Campbell presented on the power of theater and art in bridging gangs in different communities. And so even in organizations that focus on like employment or other outcomes, art can be a critical piece to support those other goals.